not remove aliens who commit serious crimes in this country. They don't have an effective federal government. Yet the far left and the press, knowing full well that the ICE raids last week were directed at dangerous people, chose not to report that, instead smearing President Trump. We have now reached a low point in American journalism. As for the far left, they are people who do not want any immigration enforcement. They want open borders. They want alien criminals protected. They want anarchy. Why? Because they don't like America as it stands now. So it is very important for all honest citizens to know you are not getting accurate information and that there is a radical element in this country that wants to destroy it. If this continues, there will be a breaking point. And that's the memo. Now for the top story reaction, joining us from Wheaton, Illinois, nationally syndicated columnist Ruben Navarrete. So Ruben, I am very, very concerned about this blatant dishonesty, the reportage of the ICE raids last week. Are you as concerned as I am?
Bill, good to be with you again. I am concerned. My vantage point is of one who wrote about the 3 million deportations carried out by the Barack Obama administration. And I couldn't get a lot of these liberals in the media to join me on the front line. I couldn't get them worked up and excited about it. And now all of a sudden it's been surreal to watch in the last 30 days or so. They just woke up one morning and realized that people were being deported out of the United States. In fact, for the last 8 years, 1,000 people a day have been deported out of the United States. What's new is the liberal outrage.
But these are criminals in the Trump administration, and most of them were targeted criminals, to be fair, in the Obama administration as well. They sent back border trespassers, but the ICE raids were not directed at what that politician said, the chambermaids, and they weren't directed at tearing families apart. They were directed at convicted criminals in this country illegally.
No, I disagree with you, Bill. Don't be too generous to Barack Obama. He said as a talking point that, in fact, he was only getting rid of gangbangers. You heard it there, and criminals. But when they did audits of the people that he removed out of the country, they found that in many cases it was only about 10 to 17, 18% of those folks who had criminal records. What you do, the reason this gets confusing for a lot of folks, if you have a housekeeper who you trust in your home with your family, and they get deported and they come back, the minute they come back, they've committed a felony.
Okay, but
so
it should be a felony.
Criminal.
It should be a felony.
Well, we call him a criminal. And what Barack Obama did, and I don't want you or Donald Trump to fall into this trap, is for 8 years he played on the idea that when he said gangbanger or criminal, an image would pop into our head.
Fine. Do you believe that the Trump administration last week was targeting violent felons? Do you believe that?
I don't believe that we know that the Trump administration pulled the trigger on these raids at all. I know we have the statement now from Secretary of Homeland Security,
yes.
John Kelly. Yeah, who said that this was a
75%, Ruben. 75%.
He said it was a targeted. He said it was a targeted plan that was already in motion and planned before Trump took office.
Okay, but
so this idea,
if Trump didn't want it, Trump could have stopped it, and he didn't, because he's targeting criminal aliens. Yet the liberal media won't tell you that, Ruben. They will, they're not going to tell you that.
I agree with you. And they also didn't say that. They didn't tell us that when Barack Obama was doing it. I think conservatives have to be careful here not to play Obama's game, which is to deport, in fact, the maids and the housekeepers. Just say they're maids and housekeepers. Don't doctor them up with words like gangbanger.
Let that policy be written, but the dishonesty of the reportage on the ICE raids last week under the Trump administration was off the chart. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
I agree.
I don't see it.
No, it was surreal. It was surreal. These are the same people who at one point told me not to write about deporting people anymore, the fact that Barack Obama had deported people. I made liberal editors nervous.
In your view, they wanted to cover it up for the Obama administration, but they're using it as a club against Trump. Same people.
Yeah, they have discovered their humanity and outrage just in the last 30 days because in the old days with Obama, this was somebody who they supported, voted for, and wanted to succeed, and they didn't want to make him out to be the bad guy.
All right, I do disagree with you a little bit. The Obama administration did target, though, the worst among them, and that people who are
That's
deported,
what he wants you to believe, Bill.
People who are deported and then come back again, I believe, deserve to be targeted. Ruben, always a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you. Next on the Rundown, we'll talk with a former ICE agent about last week's raids and what we can expect in the future. Then the personal attacks on Donald Trump and his supporters ramp up. Charles Krauthammer has some... Continuing now with our lead story, ICE raiding, targeting criminal, illegal aliens. Joining us now from Irvine, California, Claude Arnold, retired ICE special agent who was once in charge of investigations in Los Angeles. So when you saw the local news in the Southland, as they call where you live, reporting on the raids, what did you think?
My first reaction is it was mass hysteria, right? People being reported what actually wasn't happening. In fact, this operation was a fairly routine operation, the same type of operation they did conduct under President Obama throughout his administration. But it was being characterized as something that it wasn't. And what that did was it caused hysteria in those communities, people thinking that ICE is out.
All right, so they turned on the
yeah.
local news, Channel 7, Channel 2, Channel 4, the Indies out there in L.A., and all of a sudden they're hearing that poor innocent migrants are being dragged off by ICE agents, when the stat is, in Los Angeles, out of the 165 arrested, 151 had felony arrests. 151 out of 165. And the others that were taken into custody, I understand, had deportation warrants out on them. They were already ordered deported. Okay?
Yeah,
so did you hear any of that
yeah.
on any of the network news, local news in Southern California? Anything like that at all?
No. You know, I've been doing some media today, so hopefully they'll be reporting what I told them.
But why didn't they report the truth?
You have to ask them why.
You don't have any idea living in that area as long as you have and dealing with illegal aliens? You know why they didn't.
Yeah, it's politically motivated.
Okay.
Yeah, of course it is. They're trying to characterize the Trump administration as being heavy-handed.
Okay, but it's more than that. They're trying to get migrant viewers to watch their channels out there. And so they're not going to say, oh, these are the bad guys, these are the felons, the rapists, the gang members. They're going to say, oh, you know, they shouldn't be doing this to you. It's about money as well as politics, is it not?
It may very well be, yeah.
Ratings. All right. Now, in your experience, is the Trump administration doing anything differently than the Obama administration did?
I think there's one very small difference. The executive order that President Trump issued on immigration has returned to the line-level officers and agents the discretion to make arrests for people who are in the country in violation of immigration law, regardless of their criminal history. So in doing these targeted operations, which clearly were targeting felons, dangerous criminals, if they encounter someone who is in the country in violation of law, instead of looking like the other way, as they were required to under the policies of the Obama administration, they have the discretion to arrest someone and initiate removal
proceedings. But you use the word discretion.
So,
what the ICE people tell us is, if the illegal alien is not deemed to be a danger to the country, all right, they let them go.
They do. They're not detained. They may put them into the process, initiate removal proceedings that still have to go see an immigration judge, etc. But they're not going to detain them. You're absolutely right. They don't have the bed space to detain people like that. They've got to prioritize who they detain and who they don't detain.
All right, Mr. Arnold, we appreciate it very much. Thank you. Directly ahead, Charles Krauthammer on the personal attacks President Trump is being subjected to. Then later, Waters talking to the folks about climate change. Those reports after these messages. Personal story segment tonight. Seems hard to believe that President Trump has been in office for only 25 days, yet the country's in an uproar. Part of that includes personal attacks leveled at President Trump.
We have a president who is delusional in many respects, a pathological liar.
How did we get a pathological liar in the White House? Where are his lies coming from? Why do so many people believe him? And what can we possibly do about it?
I just want to thank President Agent Orange for perpetuating all of the evil that you've been perpetuating throughout the United States. I want to thank President Agent Orange for your unsuccessful attempt at the muzzle ban.
Joining us now from Washington, Charles Krauthammer. So Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush, they got hammered by the personal stuff, but nothing like this. So what do you think the effect is, because it's not going to get any better, it's going to get worse, on the general population, younger people. I mean, is civil discourse gone forever in this country?
Look, it's clearly going to have a coarsening effect. The younger people are going to grow up in an atmosphere where this kind of invective is the norm. But I would disagree on one point about this being completely new. George W. Bush received as much abuse as any president I've ever seen. In fact, I'm the one who coined the phrase the Bush derangement syndrome because of the fact that so many people on the left were attacking him in ways that were deranged. I mean, they were over the top, and there was a personal animus. He was called a Nazi and all that. So we forget. But the difference is this. That tended to set in after the Iraq War. So it was a reaction to something that Bush had done. Today, it's Trump, who's only been in office for 30 days, I mean, for 3 weeks, and he's got this reaction. It's kind of a visceral